Okay, so the first card I pulled for you here is the Two of Swords, which is fitting, of course, because it's all about making a choice, very Libra energy, making a decision between two things, two options, which of course was the nature of the question. So this was a really perfect first card to pull. So the interesting thing about the Two of Swords, of course, swords represents air energy. You're deciding between two things here, two choices, but she's blindfolded. And the idea is that she could easily take off the blindfold and see the situation clearly, but for some reason she prefers to stay blindfolded, which could also relate to sort of an apprehension about looking into the future. So the water is behind her, and the water, of course, represents our emotions. So the decision that you have to make, you have to use both your head and your heart. And the moon in the background symbolizes intuition. So you need to use your intuition to make the best decision for you, of course. So on the first path, I do actually see you walking away, possibly leaving LA. The card that I pulled before was actually the Three of Swords, which indicates that there's a reason for you to leave. Something happens to push you to leave. I don't know if it's necessarily like a relationship heartbreak. It might just be more of being a bit disillusioned with LA and just the heartbreak of leaving a place possibly before you fulfill your purpose for moving there in the first place, kind of like how we left New York. From there, I do see you, if you're, let's say, going to DC or that area, like working really hard on something, like dedicating yourself to a project. I pull this card often. It's like high Virgo energy where possibly for you, like on your computer writing, producing music, really working on music, or some kind of project that you're really dedicating yourself to. So then I pulled the Five of Wands, which to me symbolizes some sort of competition. So perhaps you're entering into like a music competition or a songwriting competition or the circle or some kind of competition that will allow you to like share what you've been working on. And then the last card I pulled on that journey was the Queen of Wands. So I felt that this could mean that you actually win this competition, whatever competition that you entered, you actually come out to be the victor. The Queen of Wands represents courage and determination. She's a social butterfly. It's a very kind of fiery, competitive energy. And the black cat sits at her feet to kind of represent this shadow self. So it may require you to become this Queen of Wands, to win this competition, to bring out and tap into that shadowy side of your personality, and play the game, be competitive. Okay, so now let's look at the other side of this journey if you decide to stay in LA. So on this side, I pulled another 5 card, this time the Five of Swords. So whereas the Five of Wands is more of a competition, the Five of Swords feels more like a conflict. So I'm seeing this could potentially be a conflict with your job. This kind of idea where, you know, he's got all of the swords. So it may be like, you know, you've stood on your soapbox and you really believe that you're right, but it may actually lead to failure in the sense that it may cost you your job. That's just, you know, one possible scenario. You may take this in a totally different way. But yeah, that's what I see, where there is some sort of conflict, where you do come out on top in your own way, but at what cost? So the next card I pulled, let's say you actually do step away from your job. One potential step on that journey here is the Nine of Cups, which is a card of like emotional fulfillment. So I see this as being kind of like a really freeing and happy time in your life where you're kind of free to do the things that you want to do and you feel really emotionally fulfilled in your relationship, and self-love, and just like overflowing with all of the positive aspects of life in terms of your emotions. Now, you know, Nine of Cups is not the Nine of Pentacles. It's about emotional fulfillment as opposed to material fulfillment. But I do see that being a potentially like really happy moment for you. And then the next card that I pulled is the Four of Pentacles in reverse. So if we look at the card, she's holding on to all of her coins. So money is tight, honey. Money is tight. Of course, if, you know, you move on from your job, there may be a period of time where money is tight. But it's also in reverse. So it could be just thinking about and being more aware of money. I got a message from Spirit this week that said, I've been spending too much money. Long story short, I have a new bank. I was like keeping track of all of my money, where it was coming, where it was going. I got a new bank, a new app, and I was not able to do that anymore. And I completely overspent. I'm talking like $10,000 a month. And Spirit said, you know, just be more mindful of your money. So today I took a long look at my money. So it's just kind of being conscious of your money, making it work for you, making investments, thinking about the way that you spend it, and just being mindful of money during this period. And then ultimately, that journey, I pulled the Judgment card. So I do see there being a necessity for kind of having that moment of judgment to say like, okay, what am I doing? Where do I go from here? I see this card as kind of like a spiritual awakening. I feel like I'm going through one of those right now, where you're really thinking about like, who am I? What do I want to offer the world? How do I make the like, how do I fulfill my life's purpose? And it really being a moment of like, yeah, what, I guess, what is this thing? Like the chickens come home to roost. Like there really is that moment of judgment from a really introspective place. Like, okay, well, I can't keep going down this direction, even if money is the cause, or just rethinking your purpose in life and what the next step for your life is going to be. I really see that being a moment along this journey if you decide to stay in LA. And that may be leaving LA later on, or shifting your focus to so that you're able to accomplish more of the work that you want to do in the world. So the last sort of bonus question that I asked was, what does Jeremy need? What is the energy that he needs to be successful moving forward? And the card that I pulled is the Knight of Pentacles. So the Knight of Pentacles, he's sitting stationary, or she, I don't know, they in this card. Sitting on the horse, stationary, looking at the pentacle, so looking at this goal, which for you, I see like financial wealth and abundance. I feel like that's your birthright. I believe that as soon as you like get rid of the scarcity mindset, and like really retrain your brain to be abundant. I strongly recommend, if you haven't read it, I know we've talked about it a billion times, The Money, Magic, and Miracles by Marianne Williamson. You have to change your relationship to money. But regardless, he's looking at this goal, or she, they, but the energy of the Knight is this hard work, productive energy. It's a card of routines. It's a card of methodical work, seeing the goal and then strategically doing the work to accomplish that goal. Again, I see that as a very sort of Virgo energy, but really like getting down to doing the work. So first, that takes figuring out what your goal is, so what you want to do with your life, from a soul level, like what your passion is, and then a way to turn that passion into profit to make it financially viable for you. And then coming up with a plan to carry it out. So that is not Libra energy, at least from what I know about Libras. So that may be a challenge for you, but in terms of like what you need to be successful, I feel like this is the thing that is probably standing most in your way. But once you do that and you really say, okay, I want to make an album, for example, coming up with a schedule, coming up with a plan, thinking about like what happens, just all of the logistics into creating a successful body of work, thinking through those things for yourself, like taking the responsibility for doing that. That is what this Nine of Pentacles energy brings to the table. So I hope this reading was helpful for you. Let me know if any of it resonates with you. I love you.